Please welcome Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Michael Regan.
All right. Good afternoon. Let me start by saying, Mr. President, I know you're listening backstage, so I want to say it, you've done it again. You continue to put the American people first. Cities like Baltimore, communities, workers, families all across the country are seeing and feeling the real results of this administration. So, Mr. President, thank you for inviting me to join you in Charm City today. To my good friend, Governor Wes Moore, thank you for your incredible leadership. Thank you for your passion, your vision, and all that you do for the people of Maryland. And to the Maryland delegation, Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, Congressman Mfume, thank you for your bold partnerships with this administration. Your important votes for the Inflation Reduction Act are a major reason we are here today. And to Mayor Brandon Scott and all of the state and local leaders here today, thank you for your service to the city, to the state, and our great nation. And to our workers, we owe you a great debt of gratitude, so thank you as well. President Biden and Vice President Harris made it clear from day one that addressing the climate crisis is not just an environmental issue, but it's an issue of justice and fairness for our most vulnerable communities. It's an opportunity to rebuild and revitalize our nation's infrastructure, and it's an opportunity to grow the American economy, one that lifts up everyone. President Biden and Vice President Harris have demonstrated that you can do all of these things, all while advancing the most ambitious climate and environmental justice in our nation, a justice agenda in our nation's history. And that's why we're here today at the Port of Baltimore, a critical hub that is essential to both our nation's economy and the economy of the local community, employing over 20,000 people in the surrounding area. Yet we all know that too many communities near our nation's ports are exposed to diesel pollution from cargo equipment, trucks, ships, and locomotives that enter and exit the port on a daily basis. But today we're here to deliver good news. The good news is that protecting people and encouraging a strong economy can and will go hand in hand. And that's where EPA's Clean Ports program comes in. Thanks to President Biden and Vice President Harris's Investing in America agenda, EPA's $3 billion Clean Ports program will cut pollution by deploying zero emissions equipment that is operated and maintained by American workers, all while ensuring that the iron, the steel, and the construction materials for these projects come from American manufacturers, creating jobs right here at home. But this is more than an investment in cleaner ports and our economy. It's an investment in our frontline communities who have borne the brunt of pollution for far too long. By prioritizing environmental justice communities, we're providing a pathway for more than just a clean energy future. After the bridge collapsed, when the port needed the president the most, he mobilized the full power of the federal government to help Baltimore build back cleaner and better. That's why today we're investing nearly $148 million in the Port of Baltimore. And you will hear more about that from President Biden. But folks, this is a great day for the Port of Baltimore, and it's a great day for ports all across this country. Because of the bold leadership of President Biden and Vice President Harris, we are investing in a future where all people, no matter the color of their skin, how much money they have in their pockets, or the communities that they live in, have clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and the opportunity to live a healthy life. Thank you all.
Please welcome Maryland Governor Wes Moore.
Good afternoon. What's going on, Maryland? It is good to be here, and it's great to be in this moment, and it's great to be here in this space. Because last time that President Biden was here in Baltimore, he was here because of a tragedy. A tragedy not just to our state, not just to the city of Baltimore, not just to Dundalk and Turner Station, but also a tragedy to our entire country. So it's great that today we're here because of triumph. A triumph not just for Baltimore and Maryland and a triumph for Dundalk and Turner Station, but a triumph for this entire country. And to really understand this moment, it's important that we think back to where we were just 7 months ago. Because 7 months ago, we stood here together, looking out over the Patapsco River, where we saw a ship that was the size of 3 football fields, that was stuck in the middle of a shipping channel with the Francis Scott Key Bridge sitting on top of it. It's a landscape that for many of us was unimaginable because I'd never seen that landscape before, because that bridge has been there since I've been born. As a state, we faced a terrible tragedy, and in that moment, we did exactly what Marylanders always do. We picked ourselves up, we dusted ourselves off, we got together, and we came back stronger. And so when people ask the question and said, so how did y'all get the channel cleared so quickly? How are y'all able to move a massive vessel without a single major injury? How are you able to support our amazing workers and businesses and victims of the tragedy? And my answer is simple. It's because we have the best workers on the planet, and it's because I have the best partners that any governor could ever ask for. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, and I will say it until my last breath, thank you, President Biden, and thank you, Vice President Harris. The Port of Baltimore is back, and it's better than ever because of their leadership and the leadership of so many that are here with us today. It's the leadership of our extraordinary congressional delegation, including Senators Cardin and Senator Van Hollen, Congressman Mfume, Congressman Hoyer, Congressman Sarbanes, Congressman Ruppersberger. I want to thank you all for your leadership. We're here because of the extraordinary military and state and federal leaders that made up Unified Command, who did an absolutely amazing job helping to get this city and this state back on our feet. We are here because of our extraordinary state and elected officials, including my friends Mayor Scott and my friend, County Executive, Congressman Johnny Olszewski. We're here because of our amazing union partners. We're here because of We're here because of the extraordinary private sector partners who stepped up. We're here because of Marylanders all across the state, of both political parties and all backgrounds, who stepped up to serve because the people of our state needed it. And when the story of the port is written, it won't just be the story of survival. It'll be the story of renewal. The Port of Baltimore is the gateway to America, and we are going to live up to that namesake. The Port of Baltimore will continue to lead in the transportation of cars and farm equipment. The Port of Baltimore will continue to lead in the import and export of billions of dollars of cargo every single year. And thanks to the leadership of President Biden, the Port of Baltimore will now be the leader in clean energy transition that the whole country will look at in awe. And let's be clear, this matters not just because of things like zero-emission vehicles and electrification will be good for the environment. But you know what it's also good for? The people who will be building the grid, the people who will be installing the equipment, the people who will be maintaining the equipment. This transition will not just be good for the environment, but it'll be good for the people that matters most, our workers. And I want to end by speaking directly to our friends from the International Longshoremen's Association. Brothers and sisters, I know that this year has been hard. I know you and I have gathered here at Dundalk Terminal quite a few times in these past months. We met right here after the bridge collapsed, and we told you that this administration would have your back, that we would make sure that you got the financial relief that you needed, and that you would get back on the job as fast as possible. We met here again when you went on strike, and together, we stood on the picket lines. You have been there for us every single day, and I'm here to tell you that we will be with you every single day as well. No matter the challenge, no matter the test, please know this. You have a true partner in the Biden-Harris administration, and you will always have a true partner in the Moore-Miller administration as well. This is going to be Maryland's decade. We have said it, and these other governors are starting to believe it now. This is Maryland's decade, but the reason it is going to be Maryland's decade is because we will be union strong. And in that spirit, I am honored to introduce our next speaker. She is a port worker. She's a proud member of the ILA. She's a person who is the first and only female rubber tire gantry operator at the Port of Baltimore, so she's a history maker. And she's someone who defines what it means to be Maryland tough and Baltimore strong. Please welcome my new friend, Gwendolyn Stewart Williamson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gwen Williamson. I have been a longshoreman in Local 333 with the International Longshoremen's Association for 20 years. I am a grandmother of 4 beautiful young women. My son is also a longshoreman here at the Port of Baltimore. We are a 3rd-generation family of longshoremen, as my grandfather was a longshoreman at Yorktown, Virginia. I come from a family of achievers. We weren't taught I can't, only I can. I am the first, as Governor Moore mentioned, first female rubber tire gantry crane operator at the Port of Baltimore. I can't adequately express how honored and proud I am to have been given the opportunity to introduce my President of the United States. President Biden's administration is the most pro-union and supportive of workers' rights in this country's history. My family is extremely grateful for all of the life-enriching policies enacted by his presidency. I take great pride in knowing that there are items in every single household in this country that was at some point handled by a longshoreman. President Biden signed the infrastructure legislation that made sure we had the support to do our jobs. He responded with support when the tragic bridge collapsed. Overnight, we became unemployed, but a few months later, we are back. He has been a hands-on president. The cap on insulin affected me personally because I am a diabetic, and as well as a lot of my union members. The funding we are receiving is a direct result of President Biden's priorities and focus on making our lives better. He is a good man of character. Please join me in welcoming our President, Joe Biden.
Don't jump, guys, all right? Thank you, Gwen, for that introduction. And a big congratulations to your fellow longshoremen who just won a record wage gains. You deserve it, man. You know, I'm called the most pro-union president in history. It's not hard, man. It's a simple proposition. Middle class built this country, and unions built the middle class. Period. I mean it. You sacrificed so much to keep America's ports open, especially during the pandemic. You deserve a strong contract. I also want to thank Governor Moore. I think he may be the best governor in the country, man. Where are you, Gov? I tell you what, man, I wish I had played ball with him. You know, and Mayor Scott, there you go. Stand up, man. Let him see you. This guy's got, being a mayor of a major city is one of the hardest jobs in American politics. They think you have all the answers and they know where you live. And Johnny O, county exec, where are you, Johnny? There you are. I used to be a county councilman. I think it's the hardest job in America. People think you know what you have. You don't have nearly what you think you have. You think you can solve all your problems, and when you can't, you get in trouble. And they know where you live, too, so thank you, Johnny O. Appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in Congress next year, man. Look forward to seeing you in Congress. And Senator Ben Cardin, Senator Chris Van Halen. What the hell's his name? He's new. Chris and I have been doing this for so many years now, it's getting old. Or at least I'm getting old. Chris isn't getting old. And Ben, we're going to miss you in the Senate. We're going to miss you in the Senate. I want to thank Congressman Mafumi and Ruppersberger and Sarbanes. But, you know, every time I see Sarbanes, he seems about a foot taller. I don't know, man. Work his dad taught me that I better understand and learn. I better learn Greek or I'm going to be in trouble. And my good friend, and he is a good friend, we've shared a lot together, Steny Hoyer. Steny, thanks for all you've done, pal. And from my cabinet EPA director, Michael Regan. You know, last spring in the dead of night, that massive container ship crashed into Key Bridge. Within seconds, steel beams crumbled into the harbor like toothpicks. 30,000 people lost their daily route to work, to school, and to home. 20,000 port-related paychecks became at risk. 6 construction workers were killed in the process. All were Marylanders, hard-working, strong, and selfless. I remember their families, as many of you did, and I vowed to them we'd never forget the contributions these men made to this city. And we do everything possible to reopen this port as fast as it possibly could be. I'm proud to say, with all the folks assembled here and the unions assembled here, you did just that. The Port of Baltimore is back open for business. I want to thank the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Army Corps of Engineers, helped remove 50,000 tons of concrete and steel wreckage. 50,000 tons. Some thought the Mississippi Channel would be blocked for 6 months or more, but you cleared it in 78 days. 78 days. On top of this, my administration provided $60 million in federal funding for response and recovery, offered grants to displaced port workers to get paid to help with the cleanup, and teamed up with businesses to keep auto and farmer shipments moving. Result, 8,000 workers back on the job. Over 100,000 tons of cargo pass through this port again on a daily basis. But as I promised last spring, we won't stop until the new bridge is finished completely. Finished. I'm calling on Congress to fully fund it this year, before we go out, this year. A new bridge built with American steel and union labor. And that's not all. For years I've been saying it's not enough just to rebuild America. We have to build it back better and stronger than before. That's why today I'm proud to announce we're delivering $3 billion in funding from my Inflation Reduction Act to help clean up and modernize ports in 27 different states and territories, from Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, and beyond, including, yes, Puerto Rico. I'd like to take that guy for a swim out there. Anyway. Stenny's looking at me, don't get going, Joe. Don't get going, Joe. Slow up. But this also includes a $447 million for the Port of Baltimore to upgrade its cargo equipment, infrastructure, and power grid. Folks, ports are the linchpin to America's supply chain. They keep goods moving, keep the economy strong. They employ over 100,000 union workers, from Teamsters to longshoremen. But for too long, they've run on fossil fuels and aging infrastructure, putting workers at risk and exposing nearby communities to dangerous pollution. Studies show more childhood asthma, lung disease, and heart disease and cancer in folks who live close to ports. This is about environmental justice. I asked Gloria, who you heard from earlier, or any of the neighbors in Turner Station, or across the water in Curtis City, communities too long left behind, simply wrong. The new $3 billion funding we're delivering today will help ports and communities all across America. It will cut ports' opening costs, strengthen supply chains, make America businesses more competitive, and keep consumer prices down while slashing carbon pollution, and support an estimated 40,000 new good-paying jobs at the port in clean energy manufacturing all across America. In fact, the funding for this port is estimated to create 2,000 new jobs. Jobs for longshoremen, iron workers, engineers, electricians, utility workers, steel workers, laborers, and so much more. Good-paying union jobs you can raise a family on. A lot of colleagues agree. We're making sure all new port equipment funded by the Clean Ports program will be operated and maintained by people, not by robots, which are going to protect those jobs far into the future. Folks, this is just a small part of what we call investing in America agenda. To invest in America and all Americans, it's working. Just look at how far we've come from the crisis we inherited from my predecessor. Example, my American Rescue Plan, which not a single Republican voted for, I might add, although there's conversions, delivering immediate economic relief to those who need it most and got us through the pandemic. The bipartisan infrastructure law is one of the most significant laws ever written to modernize our roads, our bridges, our ports, our airports, help replace every poisonous lead pipe in America, and bring affordable high-speed internet to every household. My predecessor promised Infrastructure Week every week for 4 years, but he never built a damn thing. My Chips and Science Act, also bringing semiconductor and advanced manufacturing back home where it belongs, where it started. And through the Inflation Reduction Act, we made the largest investment ever in history to fight climate change and accelerate clean energy, which is the way my predecessor said, by the way, he'd repeal it if elected. Folks, a lot at stake here. We're all investing in the America agenda, and because of what we did, remember how we were going to go into depression and all that stuff? Guess what? We got the strongest economy in the world, the whole damn world. And in America, our Invest in America agenda has already attracted $1 trillion in private sector investment. $1 trillion in clean energy, high-tech factories, and so much more. Here's what it means for Maryland. So far, in this state alone, it provides $13 billion for nearly 1,000 infrastructure, energy, and manufacturing projects. It matters. For example, look at Baltimore and the Potomac Tunnel. It's 150 years old. I've walked through that. I used to commute every day back and forth from Wilmington to Washington. I walked through it. It's leaking. It needs to be replaced. It's badly needed. And thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure law, it finally is being replaced. When the project is done, it will shorten commute time significantly, increase safety, and in the process will create 20,000 new construction jobs. And that's just one example of the investment. Folks, it's clear, after years of broken promises by the last administration, Kamala and I and our entire administration are delivering for America. We created a record 16 million new jobs, more than any single presidential term in American history. Wages are up. We brought inflation down to the same rate it was before the pandemic. In fact, wage gains have outpaced inflation. Some people have more money in their pockets. Interest rates are falling. Unemployment's been this low. It hadn't been this low for this long in over 50 years because of you all. Manufacturing's making a comeback. Where the hell's it written saying we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? Where is that written? So we're bringing jobs back home and factories home. And by the way, we've invested more in red states than in blue states. Because I said when we got elected, we'd president for all Americans. More in red states than in blue states. And those of you in Congress know that there's a group of Republican members of the House saying we got to keep this going. Because all of a sudden they're realizing how helpful it is. America once again has the world's strongest economy. Folks have filed a record 19 million new business applications since we took office. Each filing for new business application is an act of hope. Put it all together. In thousands of cities and towns, we're seeing the great American comeback story. Consumer confidence is up this month larger than ever. The economy is growing. Middle class is doing well. We're showing we're the only nation in the world that always emerges stronger from a crisis than we went into the crisis. The only one. We have to keep that progress going and growing. Let me close with this. When I see this port now, cranes in the air, ships and cargo on the move, I hope and feel what I hope you feel, a real sense of pride. I mean it sincerely. Pride. Pride in your community. Pride in our country. Pride in the capacity of our labor unions. That's what Baltimore Strong is all about. It's about pride. I know because generations of Bidens lived here since the 1850s. My dad was born here. He always told me, the true measure of a person is not how often you get knocked down. It's how fast you get back up. That's Baltimore, gets back up fast. That's Maryland, that gets back up. And that's why I've never been more optimistic for our future. We just have to remember who the hell we are. We're the United States of America. And there's nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's keep working together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thanks.